Close the eyes if that feels right. Turning your attention more inward now. And take several rounds of slow, deep breath. Now making your transition into this room, into the spaces of body. This very moment in time. Whatever is going on in the outside world, this past weekend or holiday, future thoughts or concerns of the next holiday. Perhaps just pushing them off of the side, clearing the mind so it might be free, a little more free from having to hold on to those things. And letting yourself fully arrive here now. And as you continue to breathe, just check in with the body and the mind still. Body and mind always linked, right? So just notice how you're feeling. Any areas of resistance or tension. Begin to direct your breath to all those areas. Simply letting that touch of breath come and linger to any parts that need more of a release. Just letting go of whatever is within your reach this moment. Slowly bring one hand to your belly, one hand to the chest. If you're comfortable, you can keep the eyes closed. Now, as we move into our pranayama, conscious controlled breathing practice, 3-part breath, just using the hands as your guide. When you inhale, feel the bottom hand move out and expand as you inhale into your belly, ribs. And feel the upper hand slightly lift, bringing that breath into your chest. And with an exhale, relax your chest, the ribs, and the belly. Guys, again, closing the eyes can help turn that focus inward, noticing how the breath moves in through the nostrils and enters these 3 main parts of body, these 3 main diaphragms. And also, just as importantly, watching as it exits the body, as you exhale it out in reverse. Just like everything else, the breath gets easier with practice. So be just compassionate for yourself, doing the best you can to simply slow it down, focusing on inhaling into the belly first, then the ribs, and then the upper chest. Focusing on the exhales out in reverse, back through the chest, the ribs, and the belly. So this breath, this balanced 3-part breathing technique will rather quickly help to upregulate our relaxation response, that parasympathetic side of the nervous system known as rest and digest mode. And that's the side we want to upregulate for healing, for restoration, relaxation to take place. It also helps to optimize pressure in various parts of the body. Just a couple more rounds. Just really find your rhythm. You might even notice that this breath feels like a wave, just rippling through these 3 main parts of the upper body, seamlessly flowing in, flowing out. Continue this pattern of breath. Slowly bringing the palms together towards the heart. It's in a prayer-like gesture. Now integrating a little bit of movement, gentle movement and stretching. Remember not to force or push anything. With your next inhale, press the palms together and lengthen the arms above head, stretching through the sides of the body. Then exhale, open the hands wide all the way down to the floor. Sweep the right arm around and up. As you exhale, gently side bend towards the opposite side. It can be on either side. Turn the palm downwards. The top palm turns down. If it feels right, begin to rotate the chest open up towards the ceiling. Maybe look up towards the ceiling and breathe. Just finding a place that feels right to you. Feeling a little bit of stretch, but not forcing or pushing anything. Focusing on the 3-part breathing. And with an exhale, nice and slow, bring the hand back down. With an inhale, reestablish your inner lift. So extend up through your spine. As you exhale, bring the shoulders slightly back, aligning them over the hips. And when you're ready, inhale, opposite arm, stretch it up. Lengthen through the sides of the body. Turn the palm down with an exhale. Side bend. And then again, on this side, it might be a little bit different. So go slow, moving mindfully. Begin to open the chest towards the ceiling. Softening across the heart. Stay relaxed across the shoulders the best you can. And breathe into the lower belly, the ribs, the upper chest. Breathe it out in reverse. Emptying out chest, ribs, and belly. You got it. One more round of breath. Nice. And then as you exhale, release. Arm comes down. Inhale again. Grow tall through the spine. And as you do so, shrug the shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, drop them down with a sigh. 2 more. Lift as you inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, drop them down. Just let it go. Last one. And exhale, drop them down. Good. Straighten both legs out in front of you and just continue to breathe. Shake out the legs. Keeping a soft bend in the knees. Rotate out through the ankles. Continue to breathe. We're going the opposite direction. So now, working on just hydrating and moving synovial fluid into the smaller bones of the feet, ankles, and even the toes. Wiggle the toes. You're done rotating. And then point the feet away from you and then flex them back towards you. Just a couple more times, pointing and flexing. And keep breathing. In into the belly, into the ribs, chest. Breathing out through the chest, the ribs, and the belly. Nice. Shake out the legs once again. Good. And then when you're ready, bring a bend. Slightly bend the right knee. If you do have a single tennis ball, you have the option. Place that ball right underneath the knee pit, I call it, backside of the knee. And squeeze it in, hug it in, bending the leg, plant the foot down parallel to the straight leg, and flex the toes of that straight leg. So now you're feeling a little bit pressure here on the upper calf. Breathe. If you do have a ball here, you can slowly, if it feels right, use your hands to help lift the foot off the floor and maybe move the shin or the ankle around. So the idea is to feel some of that compression. You can also try it with your ball noodle. Just isolate one of the balls. Just applying pressure here. Okay. Squeezing that tennis ball in into the back side of the knee, releasing any tension in the calf. And then you're welcome to, when you put the foot back down, you can move the ball off to the side or you can keep it in there as we move into an easy spinal twist. So whenever you're ready with an inhale, extend the arms up. As you exhale, for that bent knee, lower the hands, one to the outside of the knee and the other just behind the hip as you twist. Release the shoulders back and down. And continue to breathe. Feel the strength in both legs. Both legs are rather active. As we take the twist from the base of the spine and up through the back of the neck. So now you have the option to shift your gaze back over the shoulder. Breathe. Best you can into the belly, the ribs, upper chest. Exhale back through the chest, the ribs, and the belly. One more round of breath. And at the end of your exhale, come back to center. And we'll switch sides. So if you had a loose tennis ball or you wanted to use your ball noodle, just place the ball right underneath the knee. Squeeze it in. Place your foot close to the hips. That will ensure that there's enough compression and pressure. But of course, back off anything that doesn't feel right. It's all an exploration, as you guys know. Then perhaps floating that foot off of the floor. Continue to squeeze the ball or the noodle. Just shift that hip around, just slowly back and forth. The slower you move, the better. You can lower the foot back down. Optional to remove the ball or keep it in. Moving into the twist. And then first, just ensure engagement of both legs. And ground down through that left foot. And flex the right toes back. And as you're ready, deeply inhale to create space in the spine and reach up. Exhale, twist. Continue the opposite side. You can place one hand to the outside of the knee, and the other hand behind the hip as you twist. Deep breaths. Into your belly, into the ribs, into the upper chest. Exhaling it out in reverse. Doing the best you can to balance out your inhales with your exhales. That carbon dioxide from our exhales is just as important as the oxygen for the blood to function on an optimal level. You need that CO2. If it's okay with your neck, look back over the back shoulder. Breathing in, breathing out. Just one more round of breath. Good, and at the end of your last exhale, return to neutral. Straighten the legs, shake them out. Okay. Now, grab your ball noodle. We'll work on the external rotators. So, a lot of you have done this with me before. If you know you have some sensitivity, you can always cover the balls with a thin layer of blankets. We're going to do one butt cheek at a time. If you want to go deeper, you can use just a single ball, which tends to offer some more intense sensations. So just play it by ear. If you have a soft ball, like a kid's ball, I always encourage using that for more sensitive areas because it's softer. But for the most part, I know we all have a noodle. Place one or two of the balls, likely just two, underneath either side. So you can start on either side that you want. I'm on the right. Plant both feet about hips width apart. Arms behind you to support you here. If you have any wrist issues, you can use a blanket underneath your hands. And just breathe. So now you're balancing the hips directly on top The noodle really targeting these deep external rotator muscles. And breathe here. So we're just doing one side at a time. So you might feel a little imbalanced. So once you're situated, find your breath. Exhale. Releasing in reverse as you exhale, softening down onto the noodle, into the balls. Now you have an option here to begin a little movement, exploring sensation and release, but let your breath really guide you. So here's option number one, to slowly roll yourself forward and back, forward and back. Breathe. And you don't need a whole lot of movement to feel something, to get that significant feedback, biofeedback from the body. We want intense sensation, and of course, if you're not feeling any, adjust and move the ball to a place underneath that you will receive sensation. So myofascial release is targeting the soft connective tissue, the fascia network, that encases all of our bones, muscles, organs, tendons. When this tissue gets congested, it will stick together and really compromise mobility and flexibility of the muscles, create imbalances in the muscular and skeletal structure of the body, which leads to tension patterns that cause pain. If you're rolling back and forth, your next option, moving a little deeper, is to cross the ankle over the opposite thigh and begin to lower the legs down towards that side. So now, targeting the outer edges of the hip, wherever you are, just breathe. Pause if you need to pause and make adjustments, especially if you find your breathing has become short or choppy, then you might have gone too far. You can always readjust the ball's position. You can take a break as well. We take about, 8 to 10 more rounds of breath on this side, whether you're in this optional position or both feet planted on the floor, or maybe today you're just perfectly still, just breathing, focusing on that breath and sending it to the outer edges, the deeper inset tissue of these external hip muscle groups. If you like to close your eyes, close your eyes. Just begin to bear witness to all the sensations surfacing in the body, not necessarily just on this hip, but down the leg, into the feet or toes. Maybe there's a sense of tingling or warmth, and that's all signs of energy moving into other parts of the body from this release. So when that tissue sticks together, it will block blood, water, and nutrients from flowing to other parts. You got a few more deep rounds of breath wherever you are. If you need to exhale with an open mouth exhale, even better, more power to you. Those open mouth exhales with a vibrational quality like a ha or will facilitate even more of a release. All those things not serving you, not serving the body, mind, just let it go. Stresses of the day or stresses of this year that have been trapped. These lower extremities, certain parts of the body here. Time to let it go. Ha, One more deep round of breath. And just let it go out through the mouth. And very, very slowly, remove the noodle. Just pause for a moment. Relax the hands to the front sides of the legs. Inhale, lift up through the center of your chest. And with your exhale, begin to pull away from your knees, drop your head, and round out the spine. And pause here and just keep breathing. Soften the shoulder blades down. Breathe into the back spaces of your neck and head. Notice the hips. Just checking in, observing any difference between the left and right side of the legs and hips. Without any judgments, without any attachments to these feelings, simply just notice. And with your next inhale, slowly look up, lift the chest, straighten the spine, and then take your time, move the ball noodle to the opposite side. So now, sitting right on top of a couple of those balls, placing it under the gluteal muscle group. So find a position that feels right. It could be towards the upper part of the backside of the butt, or it could be lower, wherever it is. Find a position, bring the hands behind you, plant both feet, hips width apart if they're not already there. Using the feet to really support the symmetry and the balance here. And find your breath. Before you begin any movement, the breath, most important tool is truly your real guide, your real teacher. On and off the mat, when you notice your breath becomes short, shallow, or held, then it's time to just pause and sort of reassess the situation and find that deep breath again. Back to that space. Make adjustments as needed. And then if it feels right, after a few breaths of stillness, your first option of movement for self-massage is just to slightly roll yourself forward and back. Be the smallest micro movement, and it can offer you a whole lot of sensation in a good way. I know it's intense. Stay with it. Those open mouth exhales. Just letting go, and again, acknowledging that this is a practice of receptivity and of acceptance. Just we're here in this state of acceptance. All these feelings that come up, even if they're intense or even uncomfortable, let them surface. Using that breath as your guide. Then your second variation, to go a little bit deeper, be to cross that ankle on top of the opposite thigh. And slightly lowering the legs down towards the hip, targeting the outer edge, the outside. There's a deep inset muscle called the piriformis that connects to the hip joint, which is on the outer edge, to the sacrum, the spine. So you might feel some intensity or tingling, and this piriformis muscle lies directly on top of your sciatic nerve, which is the largest nerve in our body. It runs all the way from the lumbar spine down the backside of your leg. So sciatica, you've heard, is a condition where that nerve is highly activated, likely from being compressed, or if there's any kind of spinal condition, degenerative discs, or whatever's happening to trigger sciatica can be very painful. So releasing tension in the piriformis muscle here as you might alleviate those symptoms from sciatica, that nerve compression. And sometimes it's very debilitating. So just keep that in mind. We'll take about 5 to 8 more rounds of breath. Wherever you are, you're in the right place as long as you're with that breath. Listening to the body. If it needs to modify and adjust, really do so. Really honor your edges and your limitations. Full belly breath. Breathe into the belly, into the ribs and upper chest. Breathe out through your chest, your ribs, and the belly. Couple more rounds, wherever you are, exploring movement, digging into the outer edge, wherever you are, you're in the right place. If you found a hot spot, one of those trigger points that is literally a knot of congested, stuck together tissue, I encourage you to hold there. Just breathe into it. Feel the pressure. Close your eyes. Let it come, let it go. With your next exhale, bring both feet to the floor if they're not already there. And just move your noodle out from under you, off to the side. Bring both hands to the fronts of the legs. With a deep inhale, sit up nice and tall, lift up through the heart. And as you exhale, begin to pull away from the legs, drop the head down and around your spine. Breathing in to and from the back space of your heart. Soften the shoulders. Check in with your hips. Notice any differences. New sensation. Even check in with the lower back. The hips, pelvis, and lower back function as a unit, all connected, closely tied. So working and releasing one part or one side of the hips or both sides of the hips can contribute to a release nearby. So notice any new sensations there. And then with your next inhale, slowly lift your gaze. Lift up through the chest and bring the shoulders back and down. Straighten the legs, shake them out. And then very slowly, you're going to rebend your right knee and step it over the opposite leg, the left leg, and flex the left toes back. So now we're moving a little bit deeper. We opened up the tissue. Perhaps you might be able to go a little bit further. Bend the bottom knee. Take your time. So maybe the shin becomes parallel to the body. And then stack your right shin directly on top. And this is our first variation of a fire log pose. The second variation is to bring that bottom foot in closer to the buttocks. Scooting it back nice and slow. Remember, these transitions are just as important. And then gently laying the top leg down right on top. So 2 variations, right? Wherever you are, be mindful of the knees and the back sides of your hips. Do the best you can to evenly ground down through the hips. Stillness, relax the shoulders back and down, and deeply breathe into the belly, to the ribs and the chest. And slowly let it go out in reverse. Exhale it out. Good. You have the option to stay here for about 5 more rounds of breath, or moving into a fold. The fold comes from the hip joint. If you're moving into a fold, take your next inhale to extend up through your spine. And with an exhale to hinge forward, keep your back flat and lower the hands in front of you. Relax your head down and breathe. Remember, the breath is going to be your true guide. Keep a fluid, diaphragmatic breath. Balancing out your inhales with your exhales. If there is any knee pain or extreme discomfort, back off. Modify. A couple more rounds of breath. Using your last exhale to soften those hips and knees. An inhale, look forward, and if you were folded, begin to lift the chest. Bring the shoulders up, back over your hips. Use your hands to help the legs straighten them out. Take your time. So I like to move really slow for quite a few reasons. Moving slow allows for more biofeedback, so the mind can register all the sensation, which will just help guide your practice, whether it's for healing or preventative care, so you feel more. And also shake out your legs. We'll move to the opposite side. So now, stepping that left foot over the right, flex the toes of your extended leg, and that just helps protect the knees by engaging the muscles down the back sides of your legs by flexing the toes back. Deeply inhale, extend up through your spine. And then as you exhale, begin to bend the bottom leg, bringing that shin parallel to the body, to the hips. Right? Stacking the top shin directly on top. So fire logs, hence the name fire log pose. That's your first variation. If you feel a little bit more open or want to explore the second option, take your time to scoot that bottom foot back towards the buttock. You can use your hands as guides wherever you are. Be gentle and go slow. In this variation, stacking knee on top of knee, flexing the feet. And then I always like to kind of feel my buttocks a little bit and remove fleshy part out from underneath. So that allows evenly grounding. So I'm going to ground down, distribute my weight evenly between both hips. When you're ready, at your own pace, bring the palms together towards the heart. Offer yourself some stillness and deep rounds of breath. Really find that breath again. Breathing into your lower belly, the ribs, and the upper chest. Breathing out through the chest, the ribs, and the belly. This is enough for you today. Stay here and breathe. 5 more rounds of breath. If you're moving on into a fold, use your next inhale to lift up through the spine. So find more space in your vertebrae for the fold. And then exhaling, hinge at the hip joint, keeping a flat back, lower down. Kiss the hands to the floor in front of you. Relax the head. Again, still staying really evenly beneath the hips. Wherever you are, using your breath as a tool to soften and release areas in the body, not just the hips, but all areas that are still holding on to resistance or tightness. Got it. So a couple more rounds of breath. Your last exhale, feeling the hips release even further to the floor, the knees relax. And inhale. If you're folded, look up. Walk your hands in, lift the chest. And slowly returning to neutral. And please take your time to transition. Use your hands to help the legs. Straighten them in front of you, nice and slow. As you're doing that, stay in tune with the energy moving in through the legs, all those sensations. Shake out the legs. All right, you guys. Go slow again. Tabletop position. If you need to pad your knees, use a blanket or 2 blankets. You can take care of those knees. You won't be on them for too long. So then I want to do some standing postures, some weight-bearing postures to strengthen muscles. Tabletop with the shoulders aligned over the elbows. The hips aligned over your knees. Separate your knees about inner hips width apart. With an inhale, release the belly. Draw the chest forward, shoulders back. With your exhale, pull the navel in. Round your spine, press away from the floor. Cat-cow. Keep moving, letting your breath drive the movement. Inhale, relaxing the belly, draw the chest forward, shoulders back. With an exhale, rounding it out, pulling the navel in, pressing away from the floor. Even let the head hang. It's cat pose. Taking a few more. Maybe closing the eyes. It's a wonderful somatic movement, cat-cow, is to help provoke energy up and down the spine. Also gently stretches lower back and hip muscles. And the slower the better, so slow down your breath. When we move slower, we also increase the capacity for the strengthening of muscles. We increase the potential for stabilizing the joints. Doing these movements and postures correctly. Coming back to neutral. Draw the lower ribs in. Pull the navel center in. So engage abdominals, strengthening core muscle groups of the center of your body. So these abdominals are key muscles to strengthen in order to alleviate stress from external forces that are a lot of pressure for the hip joints and for the knees. Strengthening abdominals so that they absorb the stress. Turn the inner arms forward. Draw the shoulders away from your ears. Active tabletop, squeezing the shoulder blades together. With an inhale, lift the right leg parallel to the floor. Point the toes down. Keep the hips evenly centered. Tendency is toes brush the floor. Strong abdominals. Stay here and breathe. If it feels right with your next inhale, extend the left arm forward, energizing forward that left arm, left side body. At the same time, reaching back to the right heel. Got it. One more breath. And then exhale, release. If you have any wrist issues, take a moment to shake out your wrists or use a blanket underneath the hands. That will also help. There's no rush. So whenever you're ready, come back to your tabletop. Find your alignments. Strong core. Inhale, lift the left leg. Flexing the left foot. So again, as you flex the left foot, engaging the calf muscle and the hamstring. Back leg muscles to stabilize the knee and the hip. Lengthen back through the heel. Continue to grow strong through that left side body. And then, if it feels right, with an inhale, reach the right arm forward. Actively stretching forward through the right arm. Finding length through the right side of the waist. You've got it. One more inhale. And exhale, release the hand move. Taking a moment, shake out the wrists if you need to. And then from here, take your time, walk the hands forward, maybe just about 3 or 4 inches, and circulate the hips, big circles. Lubricating the joints. Go slow, as it feels right. Allowing your breath to drive the movement. And then go in the opposite direction as well. And then walk the hands out further a little bit more. Separate the fingers wide. Shift the hips back. Slightly back beyond the knees. Stretching through the arms. And then lower the elbows. This is a puppy dog's pose. You can feel the stretch between your shoulder blades. Continue to shift the hips back. Relax the arms. And forward release. Look forward. Slide your hands back in under the shoulders. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, curl your toes under and lift the hips up and back. Bend your knees. Now in a downward dog. Actively press down and forward through the hands. Lengthening the arms and the spine back in space. Soft bend in the knees so that you can maximize the extension of the spine. One more deep inhale into the belly, the ribs and the chest. Exhale back through your chest, the ribs and your belly. And take your time to look forward in between your hands. Bend your knees and just start to walk your feet. Walk up towards your hands into a forward fold. So keep your head heavy. That's just inching your way into a forward fold. Bringing the feet about hips width apart. They should already be there, but if they're not, just adjust yourself. If you have a block near you, a block's a nice tool to have as you're in your forward fold. This isn't just any forward fold. It's sort of a restorative resting fold. Using the blocks to rest your hands. Maybe just grabbing opposite elbows, letting the head hang heavy so that the back of the neck is long. Feel belly rest on top because the knees are bent, right? Allowing for your spine to release further and further down towards the floor. So again, just like in our down dog, looking for that optimal length and extension of the spine, protecting the knees, lower back, and the hips while doing so. Good. You might feel the thighs working, the calves working, strengthening these key muscle groups to help stabilize the hips and knees. And then, when you're ready, with an inhale, look forward and lift halfway up. You can either keep your hands on the block or bring them to your thighs. Flatten out your back. Pull the lower rib cage in, soft bend in the knees still, and reach forward through the crown of your head. Lengthen back through the tailbone and breathe. Got it. One more inhale. And as you exhale, bring the hands to the hips and sink down a little bit lower. Lift up through the chest. You look up. Do the best you can to keep the abdominals engaged, supporting the back. Nice flat back. Wiggle your toes. And then, if it feels right, with an inhale, extend the arms forward and up. Look up towards your fingers. Lift through the center of your chest. All right, keep breathing. It's called chair pose. It translates actually to awkward pose. Utkatasana in the yogi language, Sanskrit language. Breathe here. It is awkward. You feel those thighs working. Keep your toes light. One more inhale. And as you exhale, lower all the way down, belly to the thighs, release the hands to your block or to the floor. Breathe. Open the mouth if you need to release any hot air. And then place the left hand right beneath your heart center, whether it's on the block or the floor. Moving into a twist. Inhale, sweep your right arm forward, around and up, and twist the chest open to the right. Still bending the knees. And if it feels right, rotate that arm around like a big windmill, circulating it up, back, forward. Just one more round of breath. And then release back to your forward fold. With an inhale, then lift halfway up, hands to the thighs. Extend forward through the crown of your head and back through the tailbone. And exhale, release into your fold. Place your right hand right beneath your heart center. Inhale, sweep your left arm forward, around and up. Twist the chest open to your left. Try to distribute your weights evenly through both feet. And then, if it feels right, giant windmill-like circles with the arm, sweeping it back, down, and forward and up. Your breath. One more inhale. Into your belly, into your ribs and chest. Exhale out through your chest, your ribs and your belly. Lower the hand back down. Inhale, lift halfway up, hands to the thighs. As you exhale, sink down low, back into your chair pose, hands on the hips. Now begin to step your left foot back into a lunge position. Take your time. In your lunge position, align the right knee over the ankle or whatever side you're on, and then lift up through the chest, bringing the shoulders over the hips. Keep a soft bend in your back knee. So it's slightly bent there. Bring the palms together to the heart whenever you're ready. Option is to stay here or extend your arms above head, lengthening through the sides of your waist. Wherever you are, stay with your deep breath. Tuck the tailbone in, engaging the gluteal muscles that we just opened up. One more inhale. And as you exhale, hands back to the hips. Step your back foot forward and lower down. Bend your knees forward fold. This is a neutral position to reset. Feel those thighs working. When you're ready, take a deep inhale in through your nose. Exhale out through your mouth. Inhale, lift halfway up, extending forward through your spine, crown of the head. And as you exhale, sink the hips down. Chair pose, hands to your hips for balance. And then go slow, stepping the right foot back. Just transition into that high lunge from the opposite side. Lifting up through your chest to bring the shoulders over the hips. And as far as alignment goes, just check in with your front knee. Should be over the ankle or even slightly behind it. If it feels right, palms together to the heart. Or with an inhale, extending the arms above head. Wherever you are, you're in the right place. As long as you're with your breath. Engaging the gluteal muscles by tucking your tailbone in, so really deepening that stretch down the right hip flexor. At the same time, stretching these key thigh muscle groups, that bent front leg. One more deep run of breath wherever you are. And then with an exhale, hands back to your hips. Step the back foot forward. And then bend down. Bend your knees, forward fold, release. Interlace your hands behind you. And reach your knuckles up towards the sky, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Maybe allowing the arms to lower down towards the back side of your head. Stay evenly grounded down beneath all four corners of your feet. One more round of breath. And then with an exhale, release the arms. And slowly come all the way down. Just take a seat. And straighten the legs. Shake them out. And go slow. Lower all the way to your back. Hug both knees in your chest. Inhaling through your nose. Exhale it out through your mouth. Again, deep inhale, in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Using your hands to guide the knees, gently push them out to the side, and then forward, back together, in towards you. And again, keep breathing. Pushing out to the side, forward, back in towards you. Couple more. Go in the opposite direction. Pushing forward, out to the side, and then back in. Remain grounded beneath your lower back. And with an exhale, come back to neutral. Deep inhale, straighten the legs. Keeping alignment. Remember, alignment, just be consciously aware of your position, whether you're standing, exercising, sometimes even sleeping, how you notice yourself waking up or falling asleep. Protecting the knees means to be aware of if there's any misalignment going on in your postural habits. So just now look at how your ankles align over the knees, over the hips. So this is the alignment you want to maintain to protect the integrity of those joints. And then very slowly release the feet to the floor. Bring the feet together. If it feels right, open the knees out wide. Releasing legs out to the side. The further the feet are away from the hips, the more diamond shape the legs end up making. You get more of a stretch down those back sides of your hips. The closer the feet are in towards the hips, you'll feel more of the stretch in the inner thighs, the insides of the hips. So you have that option of where you want the feet. If neither of those positions feels right, just straighten your legs. Relax the arms off to the side. And just settle in a few moments of your well-deserved, more than needed, final resting position. Is now giving yourself permission to be here just as you are, in a space of pure conscious being, of rest, ease, center of your true nature. So let this period feel good. If you're ready to move, just allow your breath to come back into the body, filling the spaces and touching every fiber of your being. Eventually inspiring a little movement. Moving your toes or fingers, the feet and the hands. Rotating the legs, straightening them. Eventually, if you are getting up, just going slow, pulling the knees in, embracing this body. And eventually rolling over, pausing. And gradually lifting yourself up. As you lift up, you keep your eyes closed. Stay with this felt sensation of body. Bring your palms together or placing your palms directly over your heart. It's a gesture of gratitude for this heart, this physical presence of body that continues to propel all of us forward in each of our own unique journeys of healing, self-care. So thank you for sharing your practice with me, that energy, for inviting me into your homes. I'm very grateful. I bow to the teacher and to the light that shines in each one of you. Namaste.